Greetings, this is Bradford Donald Keller Townsend, and this is a Dyslexic Learners Order of Basic Operations with the assistance of Wolfram Alpha. Okay. Now I've done a couple of questions here, and now I'm going to go here with question 3. And it has 2 times 8 minus 2 plus 8, question mark. So you want to do multiplication first in this problem. Okay, so you would, I'm getting my calculator out. I'm going to go turn it on and go 16, okay? And then I'm going to then go from left to right. So I'm going to subtract 2. That'll give me 14. I'm going to add 8. All right, then I'm going to type 22 in here and see if that's correct. Yes, it is. Okay. Now, follow along with me. You can do it manually, or you can do it. I always recommend that you write out everything, especially being dyslexic. I'm using a calculator here at Indiana University and Purdue University School of Engineering and Indiana University Math Department. We're generally allowed to use a simple calculator like the Texas Instrument 30X2S, which is runs for under $15, I believe, although it may vary. I have multiple of them because I had misplaced them and buy them and then find them again. So I have 2 or 3, and I have lots of calculators. And being dyslexic, you can do it on paper with a pencil, with an eraser, and I like to get the big gummy erasers so I can, I know I'm going to make mistakes. I'm just going to keep trying. Okay, so I'm going to do the order of operations on using a calculator. So 8 times 3. I know that is 24, but I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Okay, that's 24. Now, I'll go from left to right. So the next thing I'm going to do is take 6 minus 1, and that's going to be 5. And then I'm going to do the next operation, which is add 5 to that 24 that we already have. And that gives us 29. So I'll type that in and see if I was right. Okay. Now, on the next one, I'm going to put in a incorrect answer intentionally, just to show you how the Wolfram step-by-step can help you. Okay. Now I'm just going to guess that 3 is wrong. Okay. I want to hit this arrow button. Oh, it says not correct. It says hint, start with 7 divided by 2. Okay. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Okay. So all right. Okay, so I've gotten 2 incorrect answers. So sometimes when things get a little bit harder, or this may be hard for you, I don't want to talk down to anyone, you can go, after you've had 2 incorrect answers on this Wolfram Alpha, then you can hit View Step-by-Step Solution. Okay, so it says simplify the following, and this shows the computer code. So let's go next step. Okay, now I'm just going to say all steps just to speed things up a little bit. Alrighty. Add the fractions under a common denominator to a single fraction. See, when they mean common denominator, in the bottom part here, that's the denominator. Okay, and they're the same. When you have like denominators, you can add. This is the numerator of each of these numbers, these fractions. Since they have the same denominator, you can add them. Okay? Then it says evaluate 8 plus 49. So that gives you 57. Here it shows you carry in the 1. And as a dyslexic, it's important that you show every step and write everything out. Part of the reason I'm using this program is I just don't really have any good software. I usually just do things on a clipboard, and I buy just like printer white paper, and then get my calculator out, and I also get graph paper, like 50 sheets or whatever, and like this is showing in the background, and I do that because I like to try to write neatly. And take your time. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Okay, so I'm just going to skip this. Okay, here it says simplify. Now, when you're doing a math problem, it's absolutely essential that you understand what they want. So, simplify means make the expression, shorter, generally into one number. So we have 8 minus 5 plus 2 times 4. So we always, if the orders of operation are of equal precedence, like minus and plus, you go from left to right. But this times symbol has precedence over multiplication and subtraction. So the first thing you would do is take 2 times 8. 2 times 4, which would equal 8. Then you would go from left to right. Then the next thing you do, you get 3, and 3 plus 8 is 11. So I'm just going to put in 10 because I know it's wrong, just so I can show you the steps. Okay. Okay, so it shows that you get 3 plus 2 times 8, which ends up being 3 plus 8. 3 plus 8 equals 11. Okay. Okay. Now, if you have your calculator out, 7 times 9, I'm doing it in my head here, is 53. I'll give you a second to type that in. Okay. Well, this is a little harder. I have to think about that. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. So, if we're going from left to right, maybe I should do the division first, then do the multiplication, and then do the subtraction last. So I'm going to get my calculator out, and sometimes slower is faster, which I put in my other video, and I'm leaving that negative sign out of there. Okay, so I'm taking 2 divided by 7 equals, and that comes out to be 2.857. Then I'm going to times that by 9. Okay. And then trying to see where it is on my calculator. Oops. So I'm messing up here. 7 times 9. 7 times 9 equals. No. 2 divided by 7 equals. Times negative 9 equals. Okay, now I get a negative 2.57. All right. Okay. All right, show all steps. So the correct way to do it is you find a common denominator, and then you take 21 minus 18. So it says subtract fractions over a common denominator in a single fraction. Subtract 18 from 21. That gives you 3. The answer 3 over 7. Okay. Let's see. So this one wasn't so easy. All right. So it has 3 minus 2 over 7 times 9. So when it did that, you got 2 times 9 over 7 minus 3. Then the next step, they multiplied that 2 times 9 and got 18. Then you get 3 minus 18 over 7, but you need to have a common denominator there before you can do any subtracting. So you're taking, to make this a 7 down here, you have to multiply by 7 up here. Okay? This explains getting that common denominator. Then you get 21 over 7 minus 18 over 7. Okay, that steps here and it shows it blown up here. And then that gives you the 3 over 7. So that wasn't so easy. So let's close this up and see. The very first step was 2/7 times 9. So you're dividing 7 into 2, so that's where that 2/7 came from. So let's go back. So it helps to check out the original problem. So that's where this 2/7 came from. So they did the division first, then they multiplied, which was the next step, and that gave us the 18 over 7. Then we needed to find common denominators, and 21 ended up being the numerator. And then there was a 1. You could write this as 3 over 1, and that makes it 21 over 7. Subtract the fractions now that you have the common denominator, and you get 3 over 7. Bear Dodd? Okay. Okay. All right. We have 2 times 7 minus 5 plus 2. So like the other one, we're going to take 2 times. Now the problems sometimes get easier when you miss them. So let's try to get one right from the beginning, okay? 2 times 7 is 14. Now we're going from the left, so we're going to subtract 5. That gives us 9, and then we're going to add 2. And that's going to be 11. And let's see if we get that right. Correct. Okay. Now, I'll pause for a second and just shut up and let you think about this one. All right. Okay, remember that the first thing to do is the division. All right. And that would be 5 divided by 4. Okay. Then we would go from left to right, so you'd end up having 5 minus 4 plus 5 over 4. And I'm just going to put in a 3 because it's wrong, just so we can see the steps. Okay. And a 0. Okay, now let's see the step-by-step solution. All right. Simplify the following. And remember, it won't let me drag. To get back to the original problem. Okay, subtract 4. We did the division. Then subtract 4 from 9. Express. You have 5/4 here plus 5. Put the fractions 5 plus 5 over 4 over a common denominator. This is, remember, this is 5 over 1, so this has got to be 20 over 4. And it's showing that 4 times 5 over 4, or 5 over 1 plus 5 over 4. It breaks it down for you here. So you're going to end up having 20 plus 5 both over 4. So the final answer here is 25 over 4. I'll just do one more here. Okay, what is the value of 1 minus 4 divided by 2 plus 2? So I'll walk you through it. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then I think the next thing to do would be take 1 minus 2, which is negative 1, plus 2, which is 1. But I'm going to put in an incorrect answer just to okay. All right. So they have, they put parentheses here, and they have 1 minus 4 over 2, which is the same as 2. Reduce 4 over 2 to lowest terms by finding the GCD, the greatest common denominator of 4 and 2. The GCD of 4 and 2 is 2, so 4 over 2, 2 times 2 times 2 equals 2. 1 minus 2 plus 2. So you have 1 minus 2 equals negative 1, and that's just this part in the parentheses here. okay? And then that is plus 2. Then you subtract 1 from 2. Or add negative 1 plus 2. There's many ways to solve a problem. I have a prove it by the book, I think, or something, where it shows like 5 or 6 different solutions to interesting problems. So an algorithm is like baking, where you can you can't you have to put the eggs in with the flour at the beginning of baking. You don't put the egg on after, you put the icing after it's cooled down at the end. You don't just break eggs and pour it on top of the cake at the end. You have to do things in the right order, but you can put the egg in, then the flour, then maybe the butter, So an algorithm, you can change the orders of certain things, and certain things, have to be done at a certain time. And in math, there's many ways to skin a cat, so to speak. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. If you're dyslexic, be persistent, have a can-do attitude. You're going to fall down sometimes, and just get up and dust yourself off and try another problem. You learn by doing exercises, like an athlete or lifts barbells or runs sprints or rides their bike for hours. If you're going to be an engineer, a scientist, or you just want to have a basic math education, you need to exercise. And I like the term exercises over problems. I think it has more of a positive psychological aspect to it. Well, au revoir, aloha, and ciao.